The Spring Chainlink 2022 Hackathon is what? The hackathon is beautiful,
biological,
brontosaurus,
benevolent,
not bronze but gold medal. Boom!
bolsterous.
No, it's not any of that. It's based.
Can I get a based in the chat, please? Welcome to the Spring Chainlink Hackathon 2022 opening ceremony. Welcome, everybody, to the hackathon. I am so excited that you're all here. We are all so excited that you're here, and we are about to get this kickstarted. I'm seeing some based jump into the chat. Welcome, welcome. We like to have a little bit of fun when we build as well. We are serious engineers, and we also like to have a little bit of fun. Yes, I'm seeing all the based in the chat. Absolutely welcome to the opening ceremony, everybody. Oh my gosh, there's so many bases in the chat. This is fantastic. So once again, welcome to the Spring Chainlink 2022 Hackathon. We have an amazing lineup here, and we are incredibly excited to get started. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all for putting base in the chat, and thank you all for jumping on this journey together, because we have a ton of content. There is a ton of stuff going to go on here, and it doesn't matter if you're new, if you're old, if you're an experienced dev, if you're a new dev, it doesn't matter. Welcome to the hackathon. We are so excited that you're here with us. So let's jump into the presentation here. I love these base in the chat. Just anybody who doesn't know what the base term means, ask somebody else who's here and they'll let you know. It's part of the culture, it's part of the community, and you are welcome here, and we are excited that you're here. So here we go. Let's jump in. Let's talk to you about what we're going to be going through for this Chainlink Hackathon. So here's our agenda. Here's the agenda for the opening ceremony here. So we're going to jump into the welcome. We're going to talk a little bit about where we've come from, what we did last hackathon. We'll talk about the differences in this hackathon. We'll do a special presentation. Then we'll go down the rules and eligibility and everything that you need to know in order to be successful at this Chainlink Hackathon. And then, of course, I know a lot of people are excited about the insane prizes on the dev post and the insane prizes here. So we'll be going over the prizes. And then after this is over, we will go to Gather. There is a link in Discord. I believe there is an email as well. If not, you can find it in Discord. And that is where we can actually interact with each other and kind of talk almost face to face in this virtual world. We can build teams and we can get started for this hackathon. So let's jump into the presentation here. And of course, this year, Melody from Chainlink Labs is actually the head honcho, the one who's running the show here. So a huge thank you to Melody for bringing this hackathon together. There's a ton of people to thank, and I'll be thanking people along the ride here, but Melody has been doing a phenomenal job putting this hackathon together. So if you see Melody on Discord or either in Gather, be sure to give her a big thank you. So thank you so much, Melody. Appreciate all that you've done to put this hackathon together. So let's talk a little bit about what happened at our last hackathon and what happened at previous hackathons in general. So previously, at our last hackathon, we had a total of 8,000 signups. That was all the way through to the end of the hackathon, which was insane. Our last hackathon was the biggest Chainlink hackathon that has ever happened, and one of the biggest crypto and blockchain Web3 hackathons in the space. Period. Full stop. One of the best ones ever. There was over $500,000 in prizes. There were over 300 projects submitted, and hundreds of developers or thousands of developers kickstarted their Web3 journeys with this hackathon, because there's so many ways to learn. There's so many workshops. There's so many people you can engage with. That was our biggest hackathon by far. And in previous hackathons, we've actually seen not only a ton of new developers get started and new people get in here, but we've had crazy hackathon alumni success. So there's projects like D-Bridge, which did a $5.5 million raise, and now they're a decentralized cross-chain bridge, and they did over $8 million in volume. We saw Vulcan Exchange bring on Mark Cuban as an advisor. We saw Struct Finance, who only 6 months ago, like 6 months ago from our last hackathon, they just did a raise of 3.9 million to get their startup, get their startup going and engage in the world and really take what they built at these hackathons and bring it to life. So these hackathons really are the stomping grounds of innovations. People make massive protocols at this Chainlink hackathon, and you can be one of the developers to do that as well. Now, of course, if you're new to this space and you go, ooh, that sounds a little spooky, that sounds like a little too much, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Well, that's perfect, because we have some of the best world-class workshops here as well. So if you're new to the space, that's absolutely perfect. If you're looking to learn, if you're looking to engage, if you're looking to test your skills out, this is where you can do that too. It doesn't matter if you've been doing blockchain for 3+ years or you're brand new. This hackathon has something for everybody. So come here, make the commitment. This is our time. We get to be the ones to be the pioneers of this Web3, of this cryptocurrency space. So make the commitment to yourself. No matter where you are in your journey, you are going to submit a project at the Chainlink Hackathon, because that is going to be the way that you either enter that realm of doing a raise and going live and going mainnet with your project, or that's what happens when you, that is how you can kickstart your Web3 career, right? You'll have a project. You'll have a portfolio project that you can show off, that you can say, hey, look what we built. This is so phenomenal. Make the commitment. This is where you want to get started. And I'm kind of in the way of this, but yeah, make the commitment. This is where we get started. So on to this year. What are we doing this year for the Spring Chainlink 2022 hackathon? So currently there are 6,000 signups, which is much more than we had last hackathon at this point. And more people usually sign up throughout the hackathon, which is fantastic as well. About 80% had zero to little knowledge of blockchain. So if you're sitting here and you're going, oh, I might be an imposter, I don't know if I belong here, take that mentality, toss it out the window. You are welcome. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter if you don't even know what Solidity is. You've never heard of Bitcoin before. You've never heard of Ethereum before. You are welcome here. This is absolutely a beginner-friendly hackathon, and we have a ton of beginner-friendly content as well. At the same time, if you're like, I'm here to do something insane, I'm here to build the next billion-dollar protocol, 20% of you are in that realm of being an experienced blockchain developer, and you are absolutely 100% welcome here as well. As we just showed, a ton of projects use this hackathon to kickstart and get their careers going, or build their startup, or build their protocol. So you're absolutely welcome here as well. And there's about 20% of you out there who identified as being more experienced blockchain developers. So in any case, doesn't matter where you are, if you're experienced, if you're brand new, welcome to this hackathon. I'm so excited. We are so excited. And like I said, doesn't matter where you're coming from. We're going to talk about NFTs. We're going to do workshops about DAOs, DeFi, security, full stack. If you're looking to learn anything in the blockchain space, come to these workshops. These are live sessions where we're going to walk you through how to do a ton of different projects, right? And if you have questions, you can ask these incredibly experienced workshop leaders, hey, this sounds really cool. How do I get that? I'm a little bit confused. And perfect. That's what they're there for. They're there to have these real live in-person, well, almost in-person sessions where you can ask questions. And they're going to be phenomenal. So if you haven't seen the calendar, 100% go to hack.chain.link, check out that calendar, because the lineup is insane. If you're just getting started, we kick things off tomorrow with the purpose of smart contracts. If you're here and you're like, I don't even know what blockchain is for, like what are we even doing here? That is where you want to start. And if you're experienced in blockchain and you have a hard time explaining what you do to your friends, you're going to want to come to that as well, because that is going to be the session where we're going to say, hey, this is why we're here. This is what we're building. We're going to go then into some introductory Solidity, some introductory smart contract building. So if you're brand new, that's where you want to go to. Then on the 24th of April, we're going to go introduction to Hard Hat, introduction to Brownie, introduction to Foundry, Truffle, Anchor. We're going to give all these introductory courses for you to take, go with, and learn. Then we're going to continue with these frameworks, Hard Hat, Brownie, Foundry. We're going to get into DeFi. We're going to get into NFTs. If you haven't seen the schedule, go there, click, give me a notification, and you'll get a notification of when these get on. 100% be sure to do those. Running a local Chainlink node, working with all these upgradable smart contracts, EVM opcodes. Basically, you can click add to calendar, Oh, and my GIF changed. But yeah, hit add to calendar. You go to the bottom right of add to calendar. You click that little plus, and it'll automatically add it to your. If you have Google Calendar, it'll add it there. If you don't, you can go ahead to the YouTube links and go, notify me. So 100% be sure to do that. And for everybody participating in this hackathon, you get 2 months free of Alchemy's growth tier. So for those of you developers, know that you need an RPC URL endpoint to do any of your developing. If you want to deploy to Rinkeby, Coven, Mainnet, Polygon, Arbitrum, etc., you're going to need a blockchain node. So Alchemy has offered 2 months free of growth here, which means more API calls, more RPC calls. You definitely want to take advantage of that. And we will be sending an email, I believe. If not, ping us in the Discord. But I believe an email is going out with that. So yeah, check your emails and check Discord. Those are going to be the 2 places we're going to give you all these updates and everything. So again, submit your projects no matter what. There's so many prizes. This is how you'll learn. This is how you'll connect. This is going to be your resume builder and get noticed. And I didn't mention this, but projects who do well will have eligibility to pitch to a VC to do a raise, to raise money, to give them more funding to take their project to the next level. So again, I want this to be the takeaway from this opening ceremony. Submit your project. If you're brand new to this space, if you're incredibly experienced, doesn't matter, submit your project. You have a chance to win one of the tens or hundreds of prizes out there. Or you have a chance to really kickstart and really go to the next level. Or you just have a chance to be that portfolio builder. You can say, I committed, and now I have a project in my GitHub that I can show off to potential employers. So make the commitment here. This is where it starts. These hackathons are where it starts. Like I said, there's over $500,000 in prizes. There are chances to learn, chances to pitch to VCs. Absolutely insane, because like I said at the beginning, we are the pioneers of this century. We are the engineers building the rails of the new world. We're creating all these economic opportunities for ourselves and for those around us by delivering projects focused on these math-based superior digital agreements and digital organizations. And why are we here? We're here because DeFi is a thing, right? We're here because we have this ability to create financial products and financial agreements that are accountable, that are transparent, where nothing goes on behind closed doors. This is this future that we're building, right? And I used an image from DeFi Pulse, and I probably should have used DeFi Lamo. Right now, we're around either 100 billion or 200 billion, depending on how you look at it, in value locked in DeFi, which is absolutely massive, but we have so much more to go. Why else are we here? We're here because NFTs are insane. We have a way for digital artists to get paid in a fair way. We have a way for people to be able to create digital art, get paid for it, and build entire ecosystems around these. We have DAOs. We have a way for organizations to digitally interact with each other in autonomous ways. We have all these insane new features. And then, of course, we have gaming. For those of you who love gaming, we have a transparent, a fair way to engage and interact with gaming, which is phenomenal. And of course, we have a ton of sponsors, and this actually needs to be updated because as we were making the presentation, a couple more sponsors jumped on board. So if you go to DevPost, there's even more sponsors here. There's even more protocols taking part in giving you the chance to win prizes and win a ton of fantastic things for this hackathon. And of course, you should absolutely thank all the judges and speakers who are making this possible. Right? These are going to be the people who, when you submit the project, they're looking at your projects and they're saying, wow, this is a phenomenal project. And these are some of the most talented, these are some of the biggest names in the space for development and engineers who understand what's going on here. So if you see any of these judges or speakers, if you see anybody here, absolutely 100%, be sure to thank them and say, hey, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. We really appreciate what you're doing. We really appreciate that you're taking the time to review our projects, to review what we're doing, and give us feedback. So definitely thank the judges and speakers and all the sponsors. And there's so many people here who are making this possible, who I absolutely 100% cannot name off because of so many people, but definitely just thank. If you run into any of these people, be sure to give them a big thank you. So, speaking of giving people a big thank you, though, we have a very special presentation from a very special someone. I would love to bring on stage Mr. Sergey Nazarov, the co-founder of Chainlink, to give a special presentation here. Sergey, you there?
Yep, I'm here, Patrick. Great, thank you, and thanks for organizing such an amazing hackathon. I'm extremely excited to see what comes out of it once again this year. Awesome. Hi, everybody. So I'm going to kind of jump in and get to the point. Sorry. Okay, hopefully. I need to permission something to share. Sorry, 1 minute.
Oh, he's just going back to give permissions to our streamer here, so we can stream his special presentation. So, but I'm beyond excited that he's here to talk. Anytime Sergey jumps on and he gives a talk, I learn something new, right? Sergey has been building this system and building these oracles and building this network to make smart contracts really come to life. All right, and he's back now. I'm going to reshare.
Yep. Hi. Sorry, everybody. We take security very seriously. So every time we do anything, we have to like permission a bunch of stuff. So sorry for the slight delay. Hopefully this time it'll work. Great. Hopefully you see my screen. Great. So thank you, everybody, for coming to the hackathon and trying to build something truly amazing. One of the quotes that always comes to mind for me when building and when doing things at hackathons is a part of this quote from Theodore Roosevelt called "The Man in the Arena." This quote really signifies to me that the people who step up and try to build something in whatever role that they play in a team building, whether it's a design role, a coding role, or whatever other role, really are taking an immense step and are really putting themselves out there in terms of, possibly failing. But that is what is necessary to make new things. And I have always had a huge appreciation for this quote. I recommend you look up the rest of it. But what this really comes down to is that the ability to make the jump to build something is what all of this is really about. It's what this industry is about. It's what the technology industry is about. It's what this hackathon is about. So the first thing I would like to do is congratulate you on taking the leap towards building something and coming here and being part of this hackathon and being part of this industry to build something that may or may not work. But I think regardless, the effort is something we really appreciate. And I think historically, there's been amazing things that have come out of hackathons in our industry, including our hackathon historically. And those things have gone on to change how the industry itself works. So that is indeed a very worthy cause and something that I think is possible in the work that you're going to be doing at this hackathon, because I've seen it happen before. The second point that I think is worth mentioning is the moment in time in which we find ourselves. And the moment in time is really pretty unique in that the way that value is secured, transacted, and viewed by people is now at a kind of tipping point. This tipping point is based not only on applications not fulfilling all of their promises or fulfilling all of their guarantees. It's also based on larger global institutions starting to be viewed differently by investors and the general public. And this type of shift in how value is secured and transacted really only happens once every few generations, maybe not even once in a lifetime for some people. And it creates the opportunity to create a new system, a new world order where the world might not work the way it did before. And I strongly believe that this shift provides a window of opportunity for our industry to define how the world works, so that the way the world used to work doesn't have to continue. There can be a new, better way that the world works in a cryptographically guaranteed, truth-based manner. And while many of the people who are worried about a challenge to the current world order might not yet see that the cryptographically guaranteed version of the world is where things are going, some of them, I think, are beginning to see it. I'm a firm believer that that is where things are going. And regardless, the opportunity to redefine how the world works is something that we can take part in. So this is really the arena that we find ourselves in. We find ourselves in the arena where all of the world's value is being reconsidered. Everything from the US dollar to stocks to bonds to commodities to games to ad networks to global trade to insurance to everything. Everything is going to be reconsidered. And that is only going to be accelerated by things like inflation, the current economic crisis that's starting and starting to accelerate. And all of those things, really, they are not good because they're going to create massive problems for the current system, but they do provide an opportunity for people to realize a better way. And that better way is really what our industry is about and what this hackathon is about, and how can we make a better world. To make this more concrete, I think that the world right now, the current world order, is based on what we call just trust us paper promises. And there's various entities that don't fulfill those promises, whether those are private entities, Enron, Wirecard, Evergrande, Robinhood, many others, right? So they have a paper promise that's maybe digitized, so it's in digital form on a web system, but the web system doesn't create any guarantees that the promises will be followed through on. And this is really the problem that is now starting to extend through inflation, through monetary policy decisions that probably should have been different, through global economics and globalization kind of starting to slowly grind to a halt because of the inability of people to work together. Those dynamics are just about the biggest dynamics that there are in the world. And if those dynamics don't become fulfilled, then everyone will begin considering alternatives to everything, to how all value is secured and transacted in all categories of the economy. And this will happen quicker in some categories where there's more failures, and it'll happen slower in other categories. And, that's sad, and that's not, what we as a society want, to have those failures. But it does create a window to find a better way. And that better way is what we're building here. So not only do I want to congratulate you of taking the step into the arena of building and actually making something useful, but also I think the arena that you're in is really the world's biggest arena of how the world's values and economic relationships work across all categories. So this is what this industry is really about. People might consider this industry to be about tokenization or NFTs as a form of tokenization, or maybe some specific smart contract allows tokens to be traded. And those things are all great. And those are very good foundations for our industry to begin. But really what I have very strong conviction that our industry is about is the ability to guarantee cryptographic truth, to guarantee cryptographic relationships between peers and between peers and institutions, peers and platforms. And this is the big shift. This is the alternative. So if the world continues to experience the failures caused by inflation, the failures caused by various private institutions not fulfilling their promises, historically, the world order would just shift to a new set of institutions and a new set of paper promises because there was no alternative. There was just a different set of people or institutions creating more paper promises with a slightly better deal. But what I'm saying, and what our industry is actually saying, is that you can have a cryptographically guaranteed deal about everything. Everything from financial products to gaming, to ad networks, to insurance, to global trade, to everything, where you don't need to rely on the word of institutions. You only need to rely on encryption. You only need to rely on the concepts of Verus and Numeris and other similar concepts, where as long as mathematics and encryption works, you have guarantees that cannot be reneged on. And as the world moves towards a place where that reneging on guarantees by institutions becomes greater and greater and actually starts to approach some of the world's largest institutions, institutional patterns and currencies and all these things through things like inflation, everyone will begin to have a cognitive dissonance between the reliability that they thought they had and the reality of the reliability that they no longer have. And that will drive everyone to an alternative. This is the alternative that our industry works on. So this is a way to look at Web3. Web3 is not something that will kill Web2, or it won't kill anything or beat anybody down. What it'll do is it'll allow Web2 and things that don't exist on Web2 to upgrade into a reliable form of transactions, relationships, guarantees. Because if you look at all the biggest problems in history, whether it's related to the derivatives industry, the insurance industry, the mortgage industry, the gaming industry, the scandals in gaming where people manipulate random numbers and steal money from users, ad network fraud where people steal money from advertisers. It's just an endless list of relationships that institutions and companies would like us to believe work one way, but really they do not. And they don't work that way because of the way that those relationships are codified. And that codification really can't go much further in the Web 2 model. In the Web 3 model, which, for those of you joining this industry through this hackathon, this is what I think you are really now a part of. You are not a part of just making tokens, which is a form of ownership in a cryptographically guaranteed manner. You're not just making DeFi, which are financial products in a cryptographically guaranteed manner. You're not just making blockchain games, which are games provided in a cryptographically guaranteed manner. You are redefining the relationship that users have with an industry because of those guarantees. And so I encourage you to think about how can you redefine a relationship between a user and their industry. That is where the most creative applications, dApps, smart contracts generally come from, is where people say, look, I understand that you have a centralized lending facility or a centralized derivatives facility, but based on all the failures in that industry, I'm just not going to trust you to execute transactions. I'm going to build a cryptographically guaranteed smart contract-based version of that. And that is where the innovation comes from, in my experience. You could also build the back-end services that enable other people to build that innovation by building smart contracts that other protocols can use, which is another very interesting direction that has a lot of promise. But just so we are completely clear, we are redefining how the world works at a very unique time when that is particularly necessary. So this hackathon, in my opinion, and this industry, in my opinion, is the right place to be, not only because of the moral benefits to society, but because it actually is going to be an extremely in-demand property of all systems. And I think that all Web 2 systems will eventually transition to being powered by Web 3 infrastructure. So that is really what we were a part of. We are a part of making this better internet. This is what we mean when we say that we are building a world powered by truth. We mean cryptographic truth. And this is the journey that we are on in helping build Chainlink. This is the journey that you're on in this hackathon. This is the journey that people are on in our industry, in my opinion. They are building a world powered by truth rather than false assumptions. The way that this has traditionally been done is now rapidly evolving. So not only am I really grateful to you to stepping into the arena and building something, and not only do I think you're doing it at a really unique time when what you're going to be building is going to be extremely useful, and you're doing it in a place where a lot of innovation and a lot of new ideas can still come to life, but you're actually going into a time when the ability to build things is actually 10xing or maybe 100xing. So the infrastructure of this industry, it has now reached a tipping point where you can build new use cases that weren't possible even a year ago, right? A few years ago, The only thing you could really do in this industry is you could make a smart contract on basically a single chain. It wouldn't interact with other chains, and it wouldn't interact with any external data. Then that expanded to maybe there's 2 smart contracts. And this is something Ethereum deserves a lot of credit for, is creating this kind of service-oriented architecture where multiple different pieces of smart contract code interact with each other, one to tokenize and make a ledger, one to do voting, one to do multi-sig. That was a huge leap forward and allowed people to generate much more advanced applications. Now, recently, partly thanks to the work that we've done, the ability to generate more advanced applications has taken another step function improvement, made another step function leap forward. And that is oracles. And that is what we, I think, uniquely provide people access to in this hackathon, and the insight about how to use oracles and oracle networks to build more advanced use cases. That ability to build more advanced use cases that were previously not possible by providing things like weather data, market data, identity data, or any other pieces of data, that alone has really accelerated the DeFi industry in a massive way. And you now have an opportunity to take part of that industry, because at this point, the ability to get market, identity, price, weather, and other data has been relatively polished. This will allow you to build exciting applications like crop insurance. Crop insurance is one of my personal favorite applications in this industry that I think is going to really help change the world for the better. It will enable people in all kinds of parts of the world that don't have a working legal system, where their ability to make relationships with each other on the basis of these assumptions, on the basis of these paper promises, doesn't even exist, because their legal system doesn't create the surety that's needed to create insurance. The ability to build a smart contract that is combined with an oracle into what we call a hybrid smart contract is already giving rise to these innovative new insurance products that allow emerging market farmers and other groups to gain access to a superior financial product, a superior financial relationship with capital and with pools of capital that basically can pay out to them if the insurable event happens. This relationship is extremely valuable to them, because it allows them to manage the risk of climate change, and it allows them to minimize the risk of a drought, which could literally upend their entire life. So this is just an example that I'm very excited about. But generally speaking, these types of examples are what has become possible because you can now have a hybrid smart contract through the appearance of data oracle networks, DONs, decentralized oracle networks, through our work on Chainlink. And this is the unique opportunity that I think you have in this hackathon, is to make these more advanced applications with the help of oracle networks, which is really what I think we in our community excels at. The architecture of what you can build in this industry is something we are continuing to evolve. So yes, we have made a lot of headway in providing market data, price data, weather data, identity data, and various other types of data. But we have also now begun to provide various computations that chains cannot or do not want to do. One example is on-demand random number generation. Another example is automation through something called keepers to tell contracts time and other key parameters. It is actually these additional capabilities that will further expand what you can build. So there are actually smart contracts out there right now, live in production, that use us for data, use us for randomness, use us for keepers, use us for multiple different oracle networks. And the real way to think about this is that imagine if you were building a web application without APIs. Imagine if there were no APIs out in the world to get market data, to get the location data of a user, to send text messages through Twilio, to send payments through Stripe. There were just no APIs. How would you build advanced web applications? You really wouldn't be able to build them, because you'd have to stop and build every single additional service to make the application work. That is the unique tipping point that you find yourself at this hackathon. You find yourself at a place where previously people were unable to use the equivalent of APIs in the blockchain industry, whether it's for data or randomness or compute that blockchains don't do. But now you have that capability. And you could, in this hackathon, literally make the first version of a type of smart contract that never previously existed, such as weather insurance or something else like that. And many of these advanced use cases have come out of hackathons, in my experience, when new capabilities like these have appeared. So our role is to provide you with this infrastructure, with this data, with this compute, with this randomness, with all of these API-like capabilities. And your role, I think, is to take advantage of them and think very deeply about what is the most advanced and creative smart contract that you could build that could redefine an industry, reinvent how people relate to each other as peers or to platforms or to each other through platforms. And the reality is that you could do that. You could invent a new type of smart contract at this hackathon that never previously existed. And you could begin an entire category of smart contract activity that was never previously being pursued by combining smart contracts and Oracle networks for these capabilities. Now, our plan is to continually provide the blockchain ecosystem and US developers and builders more and more capabilities, including the ability to string together multiple contracts on multiple chains through a messaging protocol we call CCIP. That's something planned for the future. But I would very seriously think about how can you use the existing capabilities that are already provided, which are really quite robust, to build these more advanced use cases. This is what we do. This is what we continue to do. And this is really what I think this hackathon is about. It's about this unique opportunity to really combine all of these various decentralized Oracle network services, decentralized services with core code. And it is that combination that is unique. And it is that combination that gave birth to DeFi. And it's that combination that gave birth to many fraud-proof gaming applications that use our verifiable randomness function. Likewise for proof of reserves, weather insurance, and so on. And so I think that's really the challenge of our industry is how do we reinvent more of the world using the combination of oracles and smart contracts to create hybrid smart contracts. The other direction that you could go beyond reinventing an industry, beyond reinventing a user relationship with an industry, is you could actually build various backend services that other protocols can use. So there are now so many protocols that are trying to get users to interact with them, whether it's for DeFi, gaming, or any number of things, that those protocols also need their own smart contracts to handle various aspects of what is being built. And realistically, this is really what the infrastructure industry is about in the web world. It's about providing various services. And what Chainlink and the Chainlink network does is provide decentralized services. But you could build a collection of Oracle networks that feed something into a smart contract and create a decentralized service that other smart contracts that own user relationships want to use. And so not only is Chainlink a platform for you to build applications, it's actually a platform to build all of this infrastructure and all of these decentralized services, which various Web 2 and Web 3 user-facing applications need. And so that is another direction that you could go in if you have a desire to do that or more experience building services or infrastructure. Now, I do think what you're going to build here, much of it will eventually make its way into the new global financial system. And the new global financial system, I really do not think will be a repackaging of the current world order with just some new names as the leaders. I genuinely believe that kind of time has come and gone. And if people have the alternative of cryptographically guaranteed relationships, their need to rely on brands, paper promises, in a world order that says, hey, just rely on my brand, that is not really attractive when you really understand the comparison. And so I think that a lot of the things being built in our industry, some of the things being built that are going to be built at this hackathon, many of the things that we're building at Chainlink Labs and across the entire Chainlink ecosystem will make their way into how this new world order of how the world works in a cryptographically guaranteed manner will function. And if you really sit and think about it, why would we as a society or as an increasingly globalized society want to once again give control over to institutions that decade after decade, cycle after cycle fail, when we could actually engage in relationships that are so reliably guaranteed that they cannot fail as long as math and encryption functions, which basically underpins the entire, internet and communication system and everything else. So I do think that what you're building could be very important. I do think the creativity that you expend at this hackathon will be worth it. And I encourage you to really consider how to combine these two capabilities of a smart contract and an Oracle network to either create a user-facing application that changes the user's relationship with either other users as peers or with platforms that have traditionally been provided by brands and institutions. Or realistically, there is now so many user-facing smart contracts and Web3 companies and Web2 companies trying to gain access to Web3 focused users that you could build infrastructure for those companies. And Chainlink and the Chainlink network is a platform to build that infrastructure in more advanced ways, enabling those applications to do new cryptographically guaranteed things for their users. Now, I do think we are still very early, and that is another great thing. So if you're here from the Web2 world and you're wondering, should you go all in on Web3? I'm very biased. You know, I've been in this industry for over 10 years. So my very biased point of view for approximately 10 years now has been, yes, you should go all in on this industry. But if you think about it just from a very rational, simple economic point of view, the amount of value that has currently been transferred from the cryptocurrency formatted value into the smart contracts, which are the more advanced use cases like DeFi or insurance or fraud-proof gaming, is still in the very low double-digit percentage range. So there is still a huge amount of value that is very easily transferable into blockchain games, into DeFi, into decentralized insurance, into decentralized ad networks, so on and so on. But beyond that, and beyond the fact that on that dimension, everything is very early, there is still literally hundreds of trillions of dollars in value that is not in the crypto format. And once again, if the world continues to fail people through inflation, if the world continues to fail people through institutions not fulfilling on their guarantees and giving people access to assets, if the world continues to fail people in stopping trading when it's critical to trade because you have investors or you don't want people to trade, all of these activities by Web2, centrally controlled Web2 companies will continue, and centrally controlled institutions will continue. And all of the value that depends on that will naturally seek a low-risk alternative because the risk will become sky high. And so this is really the industry that you're part of. It might seem like you're part of a $2 trillion industry. You're actually part of a hundreds of trillions dollar industry. That's what this is about. This is once again about reformatting all the world's value, all the world's relationships between peers and platforms, and between peers and peers through platforms in this cryptographically guaranteed manner. That is what we're involved in. And realistically, I think that is one of the top 3 technologies of at least my generation and probably a few generations to come. So I encourage you to be creative, to shoot for the moon in terms of building things that don't exist, and into creating more advanced use cases by combining Oracle networks and smart contracts, because really there are many use cases which I don't think have been built yet. If you find this interesting and you find enabling this particularly exciting, we are hiring at Chainlink Labs, and we are excited to welcome great people who are committed to what we want to do here. We're completely remote work based, and we have been remote work and remote first from the very beginning. And we feel that we are building a world powered by truth in what we consider to be an idea meritocracy where the best ideas should win. And if that sounds interesting to you, I encourage you to come and apply and find a way to work with us on creating this global shift towards a world powered by cryptographic truth. Thank you once again for joining the hackathon and being part of it. I'm very excited that you're here, and I'm even more excited to see what comes out of the hackathon and what you come up with. So thank you. Thank you to all the people who organized the hackathon, to all the sponsors, and I'm genuinely can't wait to see what everyone builds.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that, Sergey, and thank you again for being here and giving that presentation. That was phenomenal.
Thank you. Have a good hackathon, everybody. Good luck.
I love the way he formatted that. We're reformatting the current systems. We're reformatting these traditional systems to be these math-based, these cryptographic-based agreements. And to me, that is just beyond exciting. Every time I hear Sergey speak, I learn something new, and I get more excited about what we're doing here. So with that being said, and with that to inspire us to get going and to build this new world and build these new things, let's talk about the rules for the hackathon. Let's give you the framework so you can be as successful as possible here. So, rules and eligibility. Everything that we're going to be doing here can be found on DevPost. There is a link right here, Chainlink Spring 2022.devpost.com. That is where you're going to find everything about prizes, everything about rules, everything about how to submit, everything like that. Hack.chain.link or chain.link/hackathon is going to be where you register. Where you submit is actually going to be on DevPost, and there will be a link at hack.chain.link there as well. Please go there, see the overall rules for participation. We are an incredibly inclusive community, and violence and discrimination, of course, will not be tolerated. For your submissions, what do you need to do? What is your task for the hackathon? Obviously, to build something phenomenal, or just get started, build something really cool. But submissions are going to be due on DevPost May 27th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So whatever that time zone is for you. Again, you can find this on DevPost if you forget or you get lost, or you can ask in the Discord. We'll point you to the DevPost. You must submit a 5-minute video, all your source code, description of what it does, and then if you like, you can optionally submit a link to a working demo. For projects working with Chainlink, they must make some type of state change based off of a Chainlink interaction. What does this mean? Well, it means that you basically have to have Chainlink in your smart contracts, right? It can't just be like, a user interface on top of it. There's a caveat there. If you're going to be participating in Chainlink services or the improvement awards, that's kind of the only caveat there, right? Because you don't have smart contracts. And if you work with a layer 1, you must explain why you chose that layer 1. So, and again, all the rest of the rules are going to be in the dev post there. So, and my head is in the way again. Here is the schedule here. Today, hackathon starts. You may start hacking. You can build your teams. Definitely go over to Gather. Definitely build your team, right? You want to get jump started in right now. May 10th, we're going to have a midway check-in. That's where you need to at least have an idea of what you're doing. And if you're going to participate in prizes, you must do that check-in, right? And if you miss the check-in, just ping us, and we'll see what happened, right? May 27th, that's when all your submissions are due, and that's where the judging starts. And there's about, a week, 2-week long judging period. June 6th, the winners will be announced, and it'll be all over. So, getting help. There are a number of places to get help. Most of the communication will be through Discord and email. You should 100% go to our workshops, because we are going to give you a ton of tools at these workshops to get started and get going. Obviously, the Chainlink starter kits are amazing. They're over at github.com/smartcontractkit. If you're familiar with Hardhat, Brownie, Foundry, etc., you can find basically boilerplate code for you to take and you just run with, right? During the workshops, we're going to give you even more boilerplate code that you can fork, you can copy paste, you can do whatever you want with to give you ideas to get started. And then, of course, you can do anything yourself. Docs.chain.link is going to be nearly your home base. I go there pretty much anytime I'm coding anything in the Web3 space because it has just a ton of resources. You can copy paste. It's got configurations you can do. It's got addresses. It's got code samples. Definitely check out docs.chain.link. And then if you have questions, Discord is good, but I highly recommend you get familiar with asking on Stack Exchange Ethereum, or Polkadot has a Substrate Stack Exchange, or Stack Overflow. Because those are places that are going to be indexed. And the next time you forget that question or you forget how to do that, you can just Google it and it'll show up in a Google search. Use the internet as your notes, as your documentation. So definitely recommend using those to your advantage. Communications, like I said, are going to be through Discord and email. So be sure to have those. Be sure to be checking your email for any notification about any changes or updates to the hackathon. Now, let's talk about some prizes here. What are you eligible to win? And again, even if you don't win any of the prizes here. Just submitting your project, just being a part of this is going to really build your portfolio here, right? There's a ton of prizes, there's a ton of chances to win, but even if you don't win, it doesn't matter, right? Because you're here to learn, you're here to grow, you're here to network. But for those of you who are going to be going for those prizes, let's talk a little bit about them. So all the prizes are going to be on both hack.chain.link and the dev post. The dev post is going to have more information about the prizes. Dev post is going to say, here's what you need to do to qualify. Here's more information about the prize, etc. And this image is outdated because right as I was finishing the presentation here, we went, you know what? No, we need to give more money. So we ended up bumping these prizes up to give out more money so that you could take the money and jumpstart your projects even quicker. So, like I said, the image here is outdated, but for the Chainlink Grand Prize, for the winner of the Spring 2022 Chainlink Hackathon, we're giving out $40,000 in Link. And of course, you're going to get a chance to pitch your project to a top VC. So $40,000 for the grand prize here. There's a $25,000, and all of these prizes are in Link, by the way, in Chainlink token. $25,000 in Link for the best NFT or gaming project. So this is somebody who makes a really cool NFT, a really cool game. We're doing an NFT and a gaming workshop. So if you're looking for a place to get started, go to those. Those are going to be great places to get started. The DeFi prize for the best DeFi project is going to be $25,000 in Link. The DAO prize, the best DAO-based project, $20,000 in Link. Social impact prize, $20,000 in Link. And then again, we're bringing back the Chainlink services and improvement prizes. So what is the Chainlink services and improvement prizes? Well, this is a slightly different category. Whereas the other prizes are based off of the different smart contracts, the different decentralized protocols that you create, the Chainlink services and improvements prizes is you building anything that can improves the Chainlink network as a whole, right? Maybe you build the next Chainlink VRF, next Chainlink keepers. Maybe you improve the lives of Chainlink developers in a meaningful way. This is kind of what this prize is for. And we have a first, second, and third for this category. And I have some ideas. These are my ideas. You can feel free to take them and run with them. An audited, upgradable Chainlink smart contracts. For those of you who know, upgradable smart contracts are a little bit tricky, right? You can't have state, you can't have storage. If you don't know what I mean by that, don't worry about it. But audited, upgradable Chainlink smart contracts, a Chainlink native integration with Hardhat or Ganache or something like that. Gasless voting, gasless transactions. You could use meta transactions to have a Chainlink Oracle network actually send your transactions, so to save a ton of gas. Optimistic DAOs, subjective oracles, more data DAOs, a Web2 keepers checkup keep, Chainlink API, UI, and debugger, like a viewpoint into debugging Chainlink nodes, a universal unique identity, or really anything else that you want to do. So the list could go on and on and on, but these are some ideas that you can take, you can build, and that will be really cool. So in addition to all those large prizes, there are a ton of smaller prizes. So again, this is make this commitment to just submit, right? Because we are giving out 40 top quality prizes for $750 in Link each. That is 40 prizes, right? So that's just a massive list of projects who have a good chance of winning a prize. So just submit your projects. Now, we also have Filecoin and Polkadot are being massive sponsors by giving out a total of $75,000 at this hackathon, which is insane. And they've got some monumentous prizes here. They've got Storage Wizard, where you just use decentralized storage with your smart contracts. The DeFi Magician, On the Tools, IPFS it, right? So we have a little, where is it? Way over there, and a little IPFS logo as well. And we're going to be doing some workshops on both Filecoin and IPFS. So you could take those, you could fork them, and then you could apply for the prizes here. You got a lot of chances to win some prizes. Filecoin, the gaming NFT prize, Social Good Warrior, Daily Hack, and there's a ton of runners up. So if you want to read more about how to apply for these prizes, 100% go over to the dev post. It'll have the specific information that you need, but they are giving out a ton of prizes, and decentralized storage is an incredibly important part of the smart contract ecosystem. Now, Filecoin, speaking of which, they also made a little presentation for us. So we are going to play that now.
Hello everyone, I'm Howard Yuan. I'm a co-founder and manager partner of fundamental lens.
Oops, sorry, that was the wrong one. 1 second.
Hi, I'm Pan Chasinka. I'm a developer advocate at Filecoin Foundation, and I'm very excited and honored to be part of the event. IPFS and Filecoin are solving the problems of future of data storage, which is decentralized and empowering grassroots storage providers. What does that mean? You see, in the past, we simply stored our data on our computer's disk and shared them by means of portable physical devices, like diskettes and flash drives. But these physical storages are very limited and non-scalable. As the network and infrastructure of the world improved, today we rely on companies running data centers fueling countless computers with hard disks whose storage we can rent. It sounds very simple and scalable. We pay more to store more. Well, the problem is, you just have to trust these companies to keep your data around when you need them and to protect them from prying eyes. In the future, as apps become decentralized and deployed openly on the blockchains, and companies become autonomous, the only way storage can evolve to resolve the bottleneck and catch up is to become peer-to-peer. Instead of storing your data on a hard disk on a computer in a data center somewhere, now ordinary people, like your neighbor next door, can lend their hard disk to store data for you in a very reliable way. The people form a network of hard disks, contributing to help store the world's information. That might sound a little absurd, but it is what the internet has been capable of for a very long time. So as a developer, you might be wondering what's in it for you. And the answer is everything. You're a practical developer working on a Web3 app, like an NFT project. Learning how to store assets and data on IPFS and Filecoin is a must. Filecoin Network is currently hosting most of the world's NFTs metadata, including through marketplaces like OpenSea, which you might have heard of. There are more than 50 million data uploaded to Filecoin via NFT.storage, one of the gateways to Filecoin Network. It is very clear that the world's NFTs are relying on their information, like attributes, traits, colors, 3D models, 2D drawings, and etc. They're hosted on Filecoin, and yours probably should too. If you're a futurist, well, that's easy. What is a better future than having common people helping each other store data, plus the added security and a verifiable layer of Filecoin that can reassure your data will be stored and available alongside the world's tokenized assets in the future, like real estate, accessories, artwork, and much more, both in the digital metaverse and in the physical world. And last but not least, Filecoin and Chainlink are a perfect match to level up your DApp game. They lift you up beyond what your blockchain is capable of. To draw a little analogy here to the traditional building method, if your blockchain was the new application logic, Chainlink is like the new API to the outside world, and Filecoin, of course, is the new database. So rise up to the challenge and let's begin to build on Filecoin and unleash the potential of the world's largest decentralized storage network. Let's get creative and hack up something surprising and unimaginable. like help solve the world's supply chain crisis, or help civilians affected by political conflicts. Or build a DAO as the example of a non-corruptible organization or government. We channel your inner hardware geek and rig your thingamajigger to do the unexpected. Or launch your very own crypto quant or a peer-to-peer wallet. Let your imagination run wild. There are rooms and prices for all your crazy ideas. Make creative use of IPFS and Chainlink. I encourage you to check out a wide range of challenge statements after this. And remember to build in the open and have fun. Nobody hacks alone. And the more you ask questions, the more you learn. So learn a lot, help each other, and collaborate. And let's be humble. You're not here because of your expertise, but for your will to build something great, regardless of obstacles. So welcome, hackers, and have a blast. And I'll see you around.
I couldn't agree more. Filecoin and Chainlink are perfectly poised for you to go and build an insane application. And as he said, we're here to have fun and we're here to build something really cool. So huge thank you to Filecoin for sponsoring all these insane prizes. And we are crazy excited to see what everybody builds here. So in addition, another $75,000 participant here is going to be Polkadot. And we added this at the last minute, which is why the formatting looks a little bit different. But Polkadot as well is giving out a total of $75,000 for people building these smart contracts on the Polkadot network. And you can see some of the different categories. These are all, of course, going to be on DevPost as well. Working with Inc. smart contracts, which is very similar to Rust. So if you're familiar with Solana, with Terra, Inc. is going to be really easy for you to pick up and build something really cool. There's a Polkadot improvement prize. This is going to be maybe writing a WASM smart contract more accessible in other languages, updating and integrating a Chainlink Polkadot palette for a local parachain, create your own web page UI for a palette of your choice, and more. And then there's also a parachains and palette track where you can build your own blockchain, build your own parachain, build your own palette, build anything you want on the Polkadot network. And we are so grateful that Polkadot as well has offered up $75,000 a total of $75,000. And Urban from Polkadot wants to say a few words for you as well. Welcome, Urban.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chainlink Hackathon. Specifically, welcome to the Polkadot track of the Chainlink Hackathon. So my name is Urban, and I work at the Web3 Foundation, specifically with developer relations. And today, I'm going to be taking you through the Polkadot stuff in the Chainlink Hackathon. So for this quick presentation, I really want to just address three different questions: the how, the why, and the what. Starting with the what, let's talk about what Polkadot even is, for those of you who might not be familiar with it. So Polkadot at its core, the architecture of it is really fairly simple. It has a relay chain, we call it the relay chain, so the main chain in the middle of it, that is responsible to connecting different parachains with each other, as well as providing security to these different chains. So all of these chains, these specialized chains, are called parachains. They're built with a blockchain building framework called Substrate. And currently there are 14 live on Polkadot, as well as 29 on Kusama. Like I said, these are all specialized chains that make up an ecosystem of different chains. What is kind of important here to mention is that Polkadot, the relay chain really is a layer 0 solution, whereas all of these specialized chains are actually layer 1 blockchains. So these are not layer 2 solutions, but rather full-on blockchains. So the question is why, right? Why is this important? Why Polkadot? Well, Polkadot really aims to be a foundation for other protocols, and that's best defined within four of these categories or these features. Now, interoperability is a huge topic because you will end up with a ecosystem of different chains. The ability for them to communicate is extremely, extremely important, and this is a massive value proposition for the Polkadot ecosystem. Now, pooled security is something that is also relevant for the business model of these various pair chains, these various protocols that connect to Polkadot, because ultimately they don't have to rely on their own validator set. They can tap into the security, the validator set of the relay chain of Polkadot. So, like I said, touching on interoperability, the heterogeneous chains of the ecosystem make up this vibrant ecosystem of specialized chains. Now, these two combined are the foundation for dApps building on top of this whole ecosystem. Imagine down the road applications sitting on top of many different chains, providing value from different edges of the ecosystem. And really, this is made possible by the combination of having this ecosystem of specialized chains and the ability for them to communicate. Now, last but not least, the on-chain governance, and this one really comes in two parts. It is highly connected to what we call forkless upgrades. So basically on-chain governance, all its stakeholders of Polkadot within the ecosystem can decide on the future, can decide on specific referenda and so on. And if a chain upgrade is to be made, it can be made without splitting the community. So it is actually a forkless upgrade. And I think these four kind of really encompass the core of why Polkadot. Now, this is all fantastic. The question that we really need to answer is how, right? How do you get started and how do you get started building in the Polkadot ecosystem? What are some of the avenues that you can explore? Now, I've outlined four here, and I'm going to briefly explain them because I think this is highly relevant for this setting, obviously, since we're in a hackathon. So, building with Substrate, like mentioned, these pair chains, these specialized chains are built with Substrate. And you can go down the rabbit hole of building your own blockchain, maybe building a palette, a specific module for one of these chains. But again, it might not be for everybody, right? Because not everybody wants to build a full-on blockchain. So what you can do is also build on top of these various chains, right? So for instance, if you want to deploy a EVM Solidity-based smart contract, you might just seek out one of these pair chains and try doing it in that environment. What is interesting and important is that the Polkadot ecosystem doesn't only support EVM, but we also support what we call Ink. So this is a native smart contracting language in Rust within the Polkadot and Substrate ecosystem. Now, the third option is to build tooling. There's a vibrant ecosystem of different tooling providers, service providers, and so on, but this is definitely a really, really viable option to explore as well. And the last bucket is to build interfaces and experiences. This is simply put the UI and UX bucket. So you might be taking full advantage of Polkadot.js, specifically the Polkadot.js API, to build very nice interfaces, user experiences, and so on. So with that being said, let's move to the actual hackathon. Now we've dedicated $75,000 US for the prizes and bounties. Without going into specifics how that is distributed, I want to take you through three of the larger buckets that we have and what goes into them. So the first one is the Ink smart contracts. Like mentioned, Ink is a Polkadot Substrate native smart contracting language, and this is a bucket where you can explore that. We've got bounties prepared for that, specifically what you can build, but generally this is where you'd be exploring Ink. Now, the Polkadot improvement track is sort of a catch-all for stuff like tooling, interfaces, and so on. Again, we've defined specific bounties, but you can let your imagination go here in that respect. Now, the parachains and palettes track is the place where you get to explore the ecosystem as a whole. So maybe you don't want to build with Substrate, you don't want to build Ink, you don't want to, with Ink, you don't want to build maybe some user interface and so on. if you want to explore the ecosystem, this is the place for you. So you might be going down the rabbit hole of all of these different parachains, explore how they come to life and what they bring to the table. And this is basically it. The outline is fairly simple. And frankly, we are very much looking forward to working with everybody to explore what you guys come up with, and basically happy hacking. Thank you very much, and yeah, happy hacking.
Thank you so much for that. A little bit more information on Polkadot and the prizes that Polkadot has and all the amazing things that you can build in the Polkadot ecosystem. So I've got a little image here saying that DevPost has the full breakdown. That's Chainlink Spring 2022.devpost.com if you want to learn more about all the prizes and what it takes to qualify for some of these prizes. Right now, I think it says 3 million. That's wrong. That's a bug we're fixing. But yeah, head over to Chainlink Spring 2022.devpost.com, and that's also where you're going to submit your projects, and you'll be able to select which prizes that you want to actually submit for. So if you do something with Polkadot, great, submit to the Polkadot prizes. If you don't, and you do something with Filecoin, great, submit to Filecoin. You won't have to submit to the Chainlink prizes. You will be automatically added to those. So now we have a couple other sponsors and participants who wanted to say a few words. So we'll have Morales team go next.
Alright guys, time for another hackathon. My name is Ivan, I'm from Morales, and I'm here to tell you how you can speed up your development by 10 times. And I'm not over exaggerating, because in this kind of hackathon, you have to be fast. It's all about time. If you cannot achieve your goals within this set time frame, you will miss out, you will lose, you will not get any prize in this hackathon if you're slow. At the same time, when you're building something, you want to ensure that it's scalable, because your dApp may go global, it may get viral, it may go mainstream, it can happen. And if it happens, you don't want to start from scratch. You want to use tools and services that allow you to go fast and also to go big. And that's exactly what Morales provides. At Morales, we create tools, we create infrastructure for developers in a way that you have a single workflow. And I will soon explain what it means, because this is what saves you time. If you have a single workflow for doing things. And workflow in Web3 really means that you have to have a smart contract, whether it's a token, a game, some kind of staking, some kind of marketplace, some kind of DeFi. It will be on chain, but at the same time, you have to connect it to your backend, because when something happens on chain, you need to monitor that. So you can create webhooks, you can create email, you can create a push notification, you can run some custom code, you can run some calculation, you can save something to the database. Everything on chain at the end of the day needs to go into your backend. And when something is in your backend, it needs to go to the front end. So for example, you change the UI when something happens on chain, or you change the UI if your user receives a transfer that is above a specific threshold, or if your user has this NFT, you can allow them access into some kind of chat or some kind of exclusive piece of content. So at Morales, we provide you with a full stack suite of tools that is used by over 100,000 developers. It's really becoming one of the most adopted tech stacks in Web3. And it all starts with Morales Identity, which ensures that you get one piece of code, you write one piece of code, and you can log in your users across different blockchains, across different wallets. And in your Morales dashboard, you will get a user profile and you will get a web session. So Morales allows you to manage identities, because a user profile can have many different wallets from many different chains connected to it. And all of the transactions will be synced from that user. All the real-time transactions will be synced about that user. And also, you have established web session between your frontend, whether it is a game, whether it is a website. We ensure that you have secure, authenticated web sessions, and we provide you with session management. So in case you have your own backend and you have Morales session identity management, you can invalidate sessions, you can log in users, and do all of that all of these great things with one line of code. That's very important. Number two is Morales real time. I already mentioned a bit of it, but basically when you have a user, you know exactly what's going on in real time. You can run custom code whenever a user does a transaction. You can run custom code or do a webhook or email or push notification whenever a user interacts with a smart contract, or when a smart contract simply emits an event. This can be an trade in an NFT marketplace. This can be ERC20 transfer. You can be very flexible by setting filters. So you can say only give me alerts, only give me webhooks when the user transfers more than 10 NFTs, or when this token transfer is above $1,000, and so on and so forth. This is Moralis real time. Very, very powerful things. Next are Moralis SDKs. So whether you're building a website, whether you're building a game, we have full integration with game engines, whether you're building for some other platform, we have extensive SDKs that are easy to use, that allow you to do all of this, that allow you to connect to Moralis and do this very, very easily. And if you go to our documentation, which I highly recommend you to do, you go to docs.moralis.io. If you go to docs.moralis.io, you will first and foremost understand what Moralis is in depth. So you can think of it kind of like Firebase, but for crypto. Basically, it's a managed backend that you can connect to your front end. Also, you can connect it to your own backend using Node.js SDK. It's very, very easy. But what I wanted to show you here is cross-platform. So for each thing we have, let's say you want to get NFTs for your user. We show you how to do it in simple JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript, how to do it in React, how to do it using a web request. Let's say that you just want to use raw web request. Let's say you're using some kind of language that we don't have SDK for. You still can use Moralis, just that you have to call the raw HTTP request. And we'll also show you how to do it in Unity using C# in Unity game engine. So we're very, very cross-platform, and we are cross-chain. So this means, for example, when you log in a user, you can create a user profile where you have the Solana address. Let's say your user uses Solana, then they can easily connect Ethereum, they can easily connect Binance Chain, and we're gonna add more chains soon. They can easily connect Elrond. So one user profile, and then you have all kinds of different wallets, different chains, and you have one single user profile, one single user ID. This is, by the way, how it will look like in your database. As you can see, you're going to have a user table right here. You're going to have all of their accounts. So in this case, I only have ETH, but if I have Solana, if I have other types of blockchains, it will all be right here. And this is a database that also has all my transactions. This is a database where I can set up different listen events for smart contracts. So for example, OpenSea, I can watch OpenSea smart contracts or something else. And it's very, very queryable because this is MongoDB. This is MongoDB. You can run MongoDB queries. It's very, very queryable. So in that sense, Moralis gives you a nice dashboard with everything you need to know about your users, their sessions, their permissions, and so on and so forth. And of course, you can connect to your own backend using the Node.js SDK. So this is Moralis SDKs. And finally, when we're speaking about the workflow, the final thing is the APIs, which I also already showed you. But the APIs that you can do raw requests from any programming language, from any kind of architecture. So using this workflow, you can easily achieve anything you want very, very quickly. And I do encourage you to go to YouTube and subscribe to Moralis Web3 YouTube channel, because it is the biggest Web3 channel for developers. As you can see, each and every week we have up to 5-7 videos. And each weekend we do a big project, and you can sign up for projects if you go to moralis.io/projects. Let me show it to you, moralis.io/projects. So you will come to this page, and here you will sign up. And what you will do basically is that each week you're gonna get a challenge. So this week's challenge is to build your own metaverse, and this is already starting in a few days. And each week there's a new challenge. So last week, for example, we had Web3 Netflix, where we built smart contract, we built all of the backend, all of the front end. Before that, we had Web3 Spotify. So we are doing this full stack dApps. Each and every week, there's a new one. So you should sign up, because if you complete it, you're going to get NFT, you're going to join our community, you're going to get exclusive content, exclusive advice, exclusive connections. And as you can see, it's full stack. This is very, very important. You learn full stack. So number one, sign up for Moralis Web3 YouTube channel. You can just search on YouTube for Moralis. Number two, sign up for Moralis projects by going to moralis.io/projects, because you really have to try Moralis. It will change your life. I can explain here all I want. I have limited time, but as you can already see by this presentation, you're very curious. As you already can see by this presentation, you want to try this. As you already feel by watching me here, you are very, very excited. You have to get your hands dirty. So go, number one, to docs.moralis.io and go here, getting started, connect your SDK in vanilla or React, and go through all of this, see the magic for yourself. And if you want practicalities, go to YouTube channel and go to moralis.io/projects. Guys, See you all in the community. Good luck with the hackathon. Using Moralis, you will win. Using Moralis, you will succeed. Using Moralis, you will achieve your goal, and you're gonna do it sooner than you expect yourself. You're gonna surprise yourself. So don't let yourself down. Go to moralis.io, sign up, get started. See you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much on that. And then next up, we have Polygon.
Hackers, hope you're excited to get in and start building. My name is Rahat, and I'm a developer advocate over at Polygon. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about what we do at Polygon and how you can start building today during the Chainlink Spring 22 Hackathon. So a little bit about Polygon. It's the leading platform for Ethereum scaling and infrastructure development. What does that mean? We've got a growing suite of products that offer developers easy access to major scaling and infrastructure solutions. Things like L2 solutions like ZK rollups, optimistic rollups, we got side chains, hybrid solutions, standalone and enterprise chains, data availability solutions, and more. Long list, I know. But one of the things that I personally love most, just being a developer myself, is how easy it is to start building on top of Polygon. Everything is backward compatible. If you've already started learning how to build on top of Ethereum, you don't need to learn anything new. Everything you've learned with Solidity, JavaScript, tools like Hardhat, Truffle, etc., all these things map one-to-one straight over to Polygon. All it takes is just like one line of configuration and you're good to go. All your code remains the same, your smart contracts remain the same, and you're all set. If you've already got a dApp, you can use Polygon as a high-performance layer to supercharge your UX. You can deposit assets from Ethereum over to Polygon, transfer them between accounts on Polygon, and withdraw them back over to Ethereum as well. Things are limitless here. And, really cool thing to say, we've got prizes during this hackathon worth $50,000. How can you win some of this money? Here's some of the tracks. We've got the Polygon NFT track, the gaming track, DeFi track, and the metaverse track. I would love to see what y'all build in any of these tracks. Each track is going to have 3 winners. What are some ideas of things you can build in some of these tracks? For game development, you can build tools, engine plugins, a game engine, plugins to like ease gaming integration with Polygon, and games need an easy way to plug into the blockchain. You could be the one to build that. Social token platforms. Platform with social tokens as NFTs. Unlike fungible ERC20 tokens, you have something non-fungible. Cross-chain NFT bridges. Things to move between, have your NFTs moving from chain to chain, move them in bulk and vice versa. One of my personal favorites, music NFT platforms. I'm a musician, so I love anything that does with music. A platform that brings back albums, title collections, and royalties, and web player integration. Bring those royalties back into the hands of musicians. Super important. Metaverse marketplaces, 3D marketplaces for people to buy and sell NFTs, NFT games where you can mint, breed, buy, sell virtual characters. Buy now, pay later gaming purchasing tools, metaverse land rental marketplace. These are just some ideas. We would love to see where you take this. Go beyond any of these ideas and really just build something that can be part of the future of the internet. The eligibility criteria from earning any of our prizes is your dApp needs to be deployed either on the Polygon proof of stake testnet or mainnet. Some developer resources, if you want to get started building on Polygon, you can look at the Polygon developer library, the documentation. Always read the documentation, folks. As well as the Polygon Academy, which has a whole bunch of awesome resources to start learning on how to build with Polygon. So let's start hacking. Let's start doing this. I can't wait to see what y'all built.
Awesome. Incredibly exciting for Polygon there. And then finally, Fundamental Labs.
Fundamental Labs is a global leading crypto fund. We entered into crypto since 2016. We believe in crypto and blockchain innovations will redefine the human society. Fundamental Labs is dedicated to support the most promising entrepreneurs to accelerate fundamental innovations, mass adoption of blockchain technology, and creating value to a better digital society. With extensive business coverage from Asia, Europe to North America, Fundamental Labs have regional headquarters and a competent local team to help us connect with a number of promising projects globally. Fundamental Labs backs multi-stage crypto companies with as little as $500,000 and as much as $50 million. In addition to capital, we take a deeply empowering approach to help our portfolios to reach their full potential. Fundamental Labs investments covered in a number of areas like Layer 1 protocols, Layer 2 protocols, Web3 projects, crypto finance infrastructure, DeFi, NFT, etc. We committed ourselves to work alongside with our portfolios consistently to achieve their great success. Our portfolio included more than 100 projects, among them Coinbase, Binance, Chainlink, Polkadot, Avalanche, Nia, Blockstack, Platon, Mask Network, etc. You can check more detailed information from our official Twitter account at Fundamental Labs and my personal account at Castleyan, CASTLEYUAN. We cherish those developers with dare to change spirit. We choose to believe that what only a few dare to change. Web3 is full of new opportunities which is yet to be released, either in technical stack or application. We don't have a bias against alternative opportunities. We're looking forward to supporting those developers with the bold ideas to drive the next big transformation. Chainlink is our long-term strategic partner. We are honored to support Chainlink 2022 Spring Hackathon, and the grant size is $25,000. We are looking forward to support those founders in NFT, GameFi, DeFi, DAO. So please join us to build and make it. Thanks everyone.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. So again, a massive lineup of projects, a massive lineup of sponsors and technology participants who are here to make your lives better. We're going to be adding more of these workshops to the calendar as we continue, but the core ones, the Chainlink ones, are definitely on there, and you definitely do not want to miss those. So again, head over to the dev post to see all the actual times and all the actual prizes, and head over to hack.chain.link or chain.link/hackathon to 100% be registered. And I mentioned before, of course, that Alchemy is doing 2 months free growth tier for those of you who have signed up, and I believe an email is sent out or will be sent out. ChainShot, one of the educators in the space, is also offering for hackathon participants here a free $149 course from their education platform. So they will be sending an email in the next couple of weeks, so be sure to look out for that. People who are participating and who follow along with the midway check-in will be eligible to take that course for free. And right now it's $149, and then you all get it all for free just for being here. Isn't life wonderful? So that all being said, I just want to give a massive thank you to everyone who's here, everyone who took the time to be here and to watch the opening ceremony and to be a part and take part in this journey with us. I know this is going to be a phenomenal hackathon for everyone here because we've seen it over and over and over again. This isn't our first rodeo. This isn't our first hackathon. And we see the impact that it has on all the developers here. And I know sometimes it can be scary to take the leap. And I know sometimes that you might think you not be able to do it. But I want to say thank you for giving yourself the courage, for giving yourself the commitment to be here and be a part of this hackathon. It's the community, it's you, it's everybody who's here, who makes Web3 and who makes the Chainlink ecosystem and who makes this space better. We are the builders building the future. Whether you're a developer, a designer, PM, it doesn't matter. Huge thank you to everyone who's here for being here. Once again, a couple of links for getting help. Jump into the Discord, jump onto GitHub, jump on Stack Overflow, Stack Exchange ETH, the documentation. Jump to these places to get started and get building, because the hackathon starts now. And for those of you, there's a link in the chat here. It's covering up my face, which is fine. Now we're going to head over to GatherTown, and we're going to actually be able to interact with each other over video, get on mics and talk to each other. And this is where we can actually build teams. So everyone head over to Gather, head over there to start building teams, start interacting with people. If you don't have a team, don't worry, walk around and go up to people and talk to people, right? This is the opportunity to network and interact with different people from the space and to build your team that, who knows, maybe you build the next $20 billion protocol, or you just build something really cool that you get to show off and you get to have fun. Or maybe you win one of the smaller prizes. It doesn't matter. Maybe you just learn a ton. Go over to Gather, get your team, get started. And the Chainlink Hackathon Spring 2022 has officially started. Thank you all for being here, and I'll see you over in GatherTown. And good luck.